What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the sequel trilogy. And no, it's not the one that we're reacting to a final trailer for Rise of Skywalker. But watching that and doing my reaction to it, it really made me realize how little I care about the sequel trilogy. I already knew that, right? But my first time recording a reaction video for something like that, it was so underwhelming for me, that trailer. And it made me think about all the hope that I had initially when it was announced that Disney bought Star Wars. You know, as someone who is such an enormous fan of Star Wars Expanded Universe, now referred to as Legends, in 2012 when Disney bought Star Wars, I was like ecstatic. You know, I was so excited because I thought that so many of these characters that I've been reading about and knowing their stories were going to come to life, and I was going to see them on the screen. It was going to be incredible. Now, a lot of fans who are people who are invested in the expanded universe but don't like what Disney's doing with the sequel trilogy, you might hear them say things like, well, the Thrawn trilogy is my real sequel trilogy. And I understand that sentiment because it was, incredibly, it felt like Star Wars, right? It really did feel like Star Wars and where our characters were. But to me, I thought of something a lot different when Disney bought Star Wars. Not that I don't love the Thrawn trilogy, but it takes place a couple years after Return of the Jedi. It is obviously a huge galactic threat, but as far as kind of advancing the Skywalker story, it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's a great, you do have Luke kind of coming to terms a little bit with his heritage and his responsibilities, and we'll get to talking more about this in the Expanded Universe book club that I'm doing with several other YouTubers. For more information, you can check out my Twitter or my community posts where we'll be doing updates on that. But to me, I never thought that they would make Heir to the Empire, the sequel trilogy. One, because the ages didn't make sense, right? By the time 2015 rolled along, it had been 40 years since Star Wars: A New Hope, and the ages for Heir to the Empire didn't really make sense. Where the galaxy would be at that time didn't really make sense. And to be honest, if I was Disney, I would be really hesitant to make something that was so beloved and so well known by so many people into a movie, because people are just going to be able to criticize like every little bit that they think is different. So I can get why they didn't want to do that, and that made sense to me. But what also made sense to me, they had a perfect place to start off. Now, the last book in the Legends timeline, in the expanded universe that we got, was called Crucible. It was written by Troy Denning. It came out, and it was set 45 years after the Battle of Yavin. So the timeline would have been just about right, because Force Awakens came out about 40 years after A New Hope was made. So all of our, our big three, Han, Luke, and Leia are 40 to 45 years older. I thought that would have been perfect. And it would have been a perfect setup to go forward, specifically with, a couple major characters. One of them being Jaina Solo. Jaina Solo, the daughter of Han and Leia. And, the nephew, or the niece of Luke Skywalker. A great, incredibly well-developed character in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, and also happens to be a female. I'm sure that Disney would have got on board with that. I thought that was perfect for them, because I knew that's something that they may be wanting to do. Use Jaina Solo, this ready-built person. That first movie in the sequel trilogy that could have been, it could have been Luke, Han, and Leia, coming to terms with everything, realizing that they need to turn everything over to the next generation, and have a transitional movie where you get everything we want. We have our characters together, we see them again, but they're ready to pass the torch, and we get introduced to the new characters, like what should have happened in this sequel trilogy. You also have Luke's son, Ben Skywalker. A Ben that actually makes sense if he's named Ben, since that's how Luke knew Obi-Wan, as Ben. Right? So those could be our two main protagonists, if you want. Cousins. Jaina Solo and Ben Skywalker, both part of the Skywalker legacy. And then, of course, Jaina Solo at this time is married to Jagged Fell, who there's so many things you could tie in with him, because he is at this point an ex-Imperial head of state. The Imperial remnant has essentially come to a loose terms of peace with the rest of the galaxy. They're no longer expanding. They're just kind of living in where they're at, and people are okay with being under Imperial rule. And so that would have been really cool. We know what happens about 100 years after. There's a legacy comic. It takes place 137 years ABY. So you have this big gap where we don't know what happened in Legends. That's what I thought we were going to get from this sequel trilogy. You have, those three characters I think could be your main protagonists, just like we have, Rey, Finn, and Poe. It never made sense to me why we didn't do that. And so when we didn't get that in 2014, where they said, this EU stuff, we're done with it, we want our own stuff, it was heartbreaking for me. And, I'm so apathetic now towards everything that comes out of Disney Star Wars. So I see a lot of people who are really upset with this final trailer that we got. And to me, I'm just sitting there like, that's what I expected. Like, I have no connection to these characters at all. At the point where so many people are now, like, ready to give up on the franchise is where I was so long ago. But recently, I just feel really blessed because I've got reinvigorated and reinvested in Star Wars. Not Disney Star Wars, but the Star Wars expanded universe. So I hope that eventually we will be able to see those stories. You guys heard me talk about the Billboard project before. The link is in the description, where Twin Suns Foundation is raising funds to put up billboards to ask to continue those stories, to continue the Star Wars expanded universe. And that's something I would just really love to happen because it meant so much to me, and I want to see where those stories go. But what do you guys think? Now, there's been a lot of talk about how this sequel trilogy is ending, but would you have been interested to see that sequel trilogy that I was talking about? What we could have done if we had used the Star Wars expanded universe as a base for what happened going forward? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to all my incredible patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to check me out on Twitter or Instagram, or send something to my P.O. box? All the links are in the description. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.